Good afternoon, I'm Danielle Hickin and I'm going to be delivering a short presentation on the measurements of crime. Okay, so crime statistics in the UK are generally used to inform the media public and all relevant bodies of criminal activity in the UK, to direct government policies and strategic developments regarding crime in the UK, and to measure and identify trends in reported and recorded crimes in the UK. So the three main sources of data collection on crime in the UK are police records, victim surveys and self-report surveys. And we're going to look a little more into each of those now. So police records. Although crime statistics such as court proceedings and convictions have been recorded since 1805, it wasn't until 1857 that police recorded data was processed and accessible. The Home Office receives police records detailing the crimes that have been recorded. 90% of the statistics collected by police records are victim witness reports. After data is collected from the 43 territorial police forces and the British Transport Police, the Home Office submits the data to the Office of National Statistics, where it is arranged into accessible statistics. Victim surveys. The Crime Survey of England and Wales, abbreviated to the CSEW, was previously known as the British Crime Survey and it was developed in 1981. It is an interview-led survey carried out face-to-face by trained professionals, usually in the interviewee's private residence. The aim is to collect data from a selection of the British public regarding criminal experiences. The survey records data on the interviewee's crime experiences in the 12 months prior to the interview. The input from the survey is then analysed by specialists who must establish if the recorded experiences can be considered criminal. The reported experiences can be considered criminal. Self-report surveys. These are usually surveys completed by potential perpetrators of crime. The surveys have previously identified approximately 50 to 90% of participants who have admitted to involvement in criminal activity. The data from self-report surveys should be reviewed with caution. This could be due to participants exaggerating their involvement in criminal activity, or in contrast, those who fail to admit to their involvement in criminal activity. Differences between sources of crime statistics. So the discussed methods on gathering statistics on crime present a number of differences in the manner in which they are compiled. These include time differences. This refers to the period of time in which data is collected. The CSEW records experiences of crime 12 months prior to the participation of the interview. For example, the participant may recall a crime experience as early as 12 months prior to the survey, with the data then being finalised up to 2 years later. Participants may also fail to recall exact dates of the crime experience and give rough indications of when it took place. Whereas police recorded data is usually collected within a distinct time frame of the crime taking place. Who and what? This refers to the people and the circumstances in which crime is reported. The differences are highlighted by the eligibility and level of involvement of the participants and the crimes recorded. For example, police recorded data covers more serious offences such as murder and rape and obtains reports from a much wider population than the CSEW. The CSEW limits its data by excluding certain individuals, for example, those without a fixed abode or those individuals living in shared accommodation such as care homes and student halls. Tourists and visitors to the UK are also excluded from taking part in the CSEW. Exclusion. Following on from the differences in who is involved in the data collection process, exclusion highlights those that are factored out of some crime data collection processes. Differences can be noted by comparing crimes excluded from the CSEW. The CSEW fails to report offences against society, businesses, and other crimes that are considered victimless, such as prostitution or drug use. Inaccuracies. Crimes may not be reported correctly or reported at all. Participants of the CSEW may falsely claim to have previously reported their crime experience to the police. Human error leaves room for the details of crime to be reported incorrectly, either by the interviewer, who may mishear, or the victim, who may recall the event of the crime differently to what had actually taken place. Failure to report. Data cannot be collected on unreported crimes. Victims may not feel the need to report a crime experience via any of the discussed channels, however, they are more commonly reluctant to report to the police. Some choose to deal with it personally or use other forms of admission, such as the media. Some may sell their story, or some may choose to confide in a healthcare professional. Some victims are not able to report crime. They may have the lack of opportunity to do so, such as disability, age, and they also may be fearful of their attacker. Capping on data. Crime capping refers to the limit the CSCW places on reported crime. As an individual can be a victim of numerous criminal experience. However, the CSCW will limit the number of times a respondent can report crime. The limit is 5 times per year. In contrast, an individual can report crime experiences to the police as many times as they want. The capping of crime reporting by the CSCW will result in varying data. The difference between the reporting and recording of crime. For a crime to be reported, it must be experienced or witnessed by someone. Crimes reported to the police must meet the requirements put forth by the Home Office Counting Rule and the National Crime Recording Standard in order to be officially recorded as a crime. According to the HRCR and the NCRS, a crime cannot be recorded if the victim withholds personal information or chooses not to pursue criminal charges. Reliability of statistics on sexual offences. The police have been notably criticised for the under-recording of crime. Surveys carried out by organisations outside of the CSEW have revealed high numbers of sexual crimes that have gone unreported and/or unrecorded via the data collection methods. One survey in particular revealed a high number of victims failed to report sexual offences committed against them due to factors such as fear of the perpetrator, shame, negative social attitudes, and victim blaming. A 2014 HMIC report discovered approximately 26% of sexual offences were under-recorded. Notably, the CSCW fails to record crimes committed against those below the age of 16 and those above the age of 59, which leaves a huge area of people that are missed. The true extent of sexual crimes cannot be measured accurately from either of the data collection methods. Comparing the viability of the CSEW and police recorded crime in establishing crime rates in the UK. So I've attached a chart, a table here, I've attached a table. One side is the CSEW, and the other side is police recorded crime. In the table is basically the things we've covered, who the data collection include, who they exclude, and the main differences we're going to discuss now. So the main differences between the two are who is eligible to report. As discussed, the CSEW will not include crimes against those under 16 or those against public sector establishments, those in institutions and the homeless, whereas anybody can record a crime of the police. What counts as a crime? Again, the CSEW does not measure so-called victimless crimes such as prostitution or personal drug use. It does not measure fraud or sexual offences. Whereas the police recorded crime does measure all those offences when the timeframes in which crime is reported. Again, that refers to the availability of being able to report to the police at any time, as soon as the crime's happened, if the crime's historical, whereas the CSEW is a very structured reporting process. What areas are covered in the reporting of crime? Again, police recorded crime covers the 43 territorial police forces, and the British Crime Survey works in smaller demographics, a small area level. Unreported crime. So we're just going to cover some of the reasons that a person may not report a crime. The true extent of crime cannot be measured accurately from either of the data collection methods. Crimes that go unreported and unrecorded are known as the dark figure of crime. This refers to incidents that are not recorded or registered with any data collection source. Factors that contribute to the under-recording of crime. So we're just going to give some scenarios that may be reasons for the under-recording and under-reporting of crime. And that is, victims of vandalism may feel that nothing can be gained from reporting the damage. They may opt to repair the damage themselves and question whether or not the damage was a deliberate act of vandalism. They may also be reluctant if it went unwitnessed. Victims of sexual assault and domestic violence may have similar reasons for failure to report. This may include shame, the fear of not being believed, or from coercion into keeping quiet from their attacker or others. Some crimes are dealt with outside of the CSEW and police include corporate crimes such as tax evasion and crimes where the victim and perpetrator choose to deal with the incident personally. So-called victimless crimes such as prostitution and drug use are rarely reported due to lack of incentive. Some individuals may not understand or believe that they are a victim to a crime. This could be due to their cultural upbringing. They may have been brought up to believe that a certain crime is accepted in their culture and their belief system. Also, language barriers may prevent a victim from understanding the British law or understanding that a crime has taken place. Crime committed by or against prominent figures such as a celebrity or a politician, they are sometimes not reported due to fear of media backlash, media exposure and judgment from the wider public. Similarly, cultural attitudes can contribute to the underreporting of crime. Some may be reluctant to report if the crime was once deemed acceptable in society, such as driving without a seatbelt. Some might feel like that's not worth their time. They may also feel pressure to not report, fearing the judgment of others. And that is the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.